the goal of this presentation is to provide you a magic tool that will make you and your team super effective. Yeah, so for me that sounds like a very exciting goal and an ambitious one. But there is one more, I think that this presentation will be mostly about goals, okay? How goals help me be effective and how goals help teams I work with be effective. And goals definitely should be ambitious, exciting, and so on, but there's one more thing I've learned about the goals, which is quite important. That it's not really that important whether you reach your goal or not. It doesn't really matter whether you cross this target or not. The goal is to give you the direction, okay? So, well, why the direction is important? Because there's no point in driving with your project in the wrong direction, okay? And in our industry, it's usually product owner's job to take care of the direction of the project, okay? So they are kind of responsible for making sure we're working on the features that are really the most important. But I believe that that's not only product owner's job. That's and the responsibility of the whole team. So hopefully everyone, not only product owners in this room, will be able to benefit from this presentation. And here's the magic tool. That's my magic tool. It's a question, what's the goal? Some people who know me, at the time I was at Software Mill, I was asking this question over and over again. And what's the goal of this meeting? What's the goal of this documentation we write? What's your goal, dear customer? What do you want to achieve? And so on, and so on, so on, and so on. What I've heard was that it was helpful, though sometimes annoying, but still I believe that for me, it's a game changer. And I'm going to give you a number of examples when this worked. One failure example when we kind of forgot to use this technique. Kind of the first one that comes to my mind is about meetings. So how often do you ask at the meeting, what's actually the goal of the meeting? Always. That's great. That's absolutely awesome. What I've noticed is that in a number of times there is no time when it's actually spoken kind of out loud. What's the goal of this meeting? I've been working for over 9 years remotely in a distributed environment where communication is really, really hard. And kind of that was a game changer for me to decide at the very beginning on what's the goal, or if the decision is going away the track, to ask about the goal somewhere in the middle of the meeting. Though, beware. In some cases, people may be annoyed by such a direct question. I've heard a story from my colleague working in a large financial company, and he was attending meeting scheduled for 3 hours, and after 2 hours he asked a milder version of this question. How are the topics we're currently discussing connected to our main objective? He got the strange looks anyway. So it might be a bit dangerous to ask this question in some cases. So that's my experience. Okay, for me that question sometimes totally changed the track of the discussion. Sometimes it just put the focus in the right place. I've been working for a customer, the great customer in Australia. We've been kind of building a SMS messaging platform and following the Sprint Scrum methodology, showing them every 2 weeks what we've done. And I was one of the people responsible for writing down, kind of preparing our team to this demo meeting or sprint review meeting. And here is the thing where kind of think about the goals helped me, because what I was doing, I was always writing down, okay, the goal of this meeting is to demonstrate to our customer what we've built in the previous 2 weeks. And after some time, I said to myself, is that really the goal? Okay, why are we actually showing them this stuff? And then I realized that actually I should put focus somewhere else. That the goal of the sprint review meeting is to gather feedback about the things that we've built in the previous 2 weeks. And that brings me to one more kind of helpful question. How will I know that I've reached my goal? I don't have to reach my goal, but it's helpful to think about it. So now I was kind of more fishing for feedback during these meetings, not kind of focusing on just showing more and more all the stuff. And there is kind of similar thing with another Scrum meeting, Sprint Retrospective. And I've seen this a number of times when it's kind of looking on the rear view mirror. Okay, so kind of the goal of this meeting is to say, oh Jesus, how bad it was in the previous iteration, what was wrong, and that leaves just a little time to think about actions. And the goal of the retrospective, I mean kind of the high level goal is to continuously improve, okay? What you should take away from this meeting is just actionable, some plan with some actions, not complaining. And kind of closing the subject of thinking about the goals of the meetings, it's this question: what's your goal here? Are you here to network, or are you here to learn something new, get inspired, get some new energy, or have you got any questions in your mind that you would like to get answered? Okay, and I think it's a really useful exercise. It helps me decide on which track I should attend, for example. And remember, it's just a mental exercise. You don't have to worry that, okay, I had 3 questions before this conference, and now I have 7 rather than 2 of them answered. So that was about meetings, but as I've already mentioned, it's kind of mostly about product ownership responsibility to take care of the direction of the project. And I think that this approach, asking about the goal, what's your goal, dear customer? It's really useful in the old product owner's game. So which feature should we build next? Usually there's at least 5 features we should build next. Sometimes there's 50 features we should build next. And I found it really helpful to start with this approach. And here I've got 2 examples to share with you. And first one is the failure one. So in this case, we forgot to think this way. The customer came to us, and what they said, you know, guys, we need audit logs. So we had a kind of application, and this application had a management unit where people managing this application could add users and add credits. That was most importantly. The thing was that those managers could add credits, then the users could use these credits to whatever, send messages, but that's not important. And they came to us and they said, we need to audit everything that these administrators do with our applications. And I was actually confused. It was a small company, like there were 3 of these administrators or something like that. I couldn't believe that they may not trust each other so that they need to audit this data. But I didn't ask them this question, what are you trying to achieve here? Or, how are you going to use this audit logs? Why do you want to log every single thing that the administrator does? And at the end of the day, or actually at the end of the month, it turned out that the way they used it, it was, okay, let's have a look at our audit logs and see the customer ABC, we've added them 10,000 credits at the beginning of September, then 5,000 credits later on, and 3,000 credits later on. We should charge them for 18,000 credits. And yeah, if we ask this question before, we could just build them a very simple mechanism that provides them these numbers for invoices. But we didn't. Why? We were probably too busy delivering value, right? Another example I have. This time it's positive. User management. How many of you have built user management in your life, in your career? Oh, not too many. Really, I've been a number of user management implementations. So at some time when I was working on a product, and once again it turned out that, well, okay, we need users, and of course we need to manage users. So the story was that well, the customer said, well, of course we need to have some user management for all of this. So then we started thinking about it, and it was like, okay, so we need users, so we need to add users, ability to add users. Then that means that, well, we should probably allow deleting users. So if you add user, then you delete user too. But you know, permanent deletion is not so good. So maybe we should disable users, allow disabling users rather than deleting them. But then if you disable, then you can also enable users, right? And now at this point, something started ringing in my head. What are we trying to achieve? Okay, what's the goal of the whole thing? Okay, the goal was actually they wanted to build these users. That was the important thing, not the whole user management part. So in the end, it's a quite sophisticated product. It's a really sophisticated backend system with lots of bells and whistles, business features, and so on. But there is no way to delete user in this system. There is no way to disable user. If you really need to disable user in this platform, you change their password to a random string, and that's fine with our customer. So what I wanted to share with you was this really simple approach. Okay, so ask about the goal. What's the goal? What's the goal? If you guys say you do that already on every meeting, that's great. I've been struggling with making this habit. I've managed to make this habit, and one of the things that helped me, I'd say actually two things helped me. First of them was to always ask about it at the beginning of the activity. Okay, so doing refactoring, okay, but what's the goal? What I'm trying to achieve? We're starting a meeting, okay, but what's the goal? What we trying to achieve? And another thing that really helped me was enjoying the whole process. Okay, so it must be fun. It's the kind of I really like this whole game. One of the things that help here is this approach that it doesn't really matter whether you will reach this goal or not. It was really helpful for me that it doesn't really matter whether you cross this target or not, but it's still worth thinking about the goals because the goals give you the direction. And I'm certainly not the first one to think about it, and not the first one to invent this, but I believe that this is something that it's really worth to keep in mind all the time. Thank you very much.